South Africa loves house music. You can hear it on the streets, carried by powerful taxi sound systems, and at every party in Shebeen. For almost 30 years, SA House has been the soundtrack to social change, democracy, and freedom. House music was born in Chicago in the early 80s before spreading to Europe and beyond. In South Africa, the apartheid state was crumbling and used violence and terror to rule. Apartheid policed every aspect of black people's lives, including curfews and bans on public gatherings. Despite this, South Africa had a thriving music scene. In the 80s, bubblegum music brought electronic rhythms to the townships. Bubblegum artists made dance music which expressed both political resistance and hopes for a better future. Geographical and political isolation meant that South Africa was often late to music trends. But by the early 90s, house music and dance culture had reached the underground. Inspired by DJs like Frankie Knuckles, producers Oskido and Christos began to produce a new style of South African house. They drastically slowed the tempo of house tracks, adding ragga and hip-hop inspired vocals on top. This new party music was called Kwaito. It represented the desires and dreams of black youth, eager to express themselves without fear of apartheid repression. After the first democratic elections in 1994, Kwaito became the soundtrack of liberation. Kwaito was a complete youth revolution. It had its own stars, fashion, dances, and media infrastructure. Kwaito first became the sound of the streets and taxis. Major labels and radio initially saw it as too ghetto and brash, but it was kept alive by entrepreneurial artists who stayed hustling. The mainstream had no choice but to accept them. By the 2000s, Kwaito's popularity began to wane. Audiences were looking for a more sophisticated, mellower sound. Artists like Black Coffee popularized deep house, which incorporated jazz and classical influences. Deep house also showed that audiences wanted music that was less politicized. It was time to enjoy the possibilities of democracy. With Shangaan Electro, Nozinja presented a futuristic vision of Tsonga culture. Other styles of SA house music are dark and disorientating. This reflects pervasive social problems like racialized inequality, mass unemployment, and political corruption. With the menacing global hit Township Funk, DJ Mujava brought the raw sound of Bacardi House to the world. In the city of Durban, young bedroom producers invented the captivating menace of Gqom. Currently, SA house is dominated by amaipiano. The smooth sound borrows from jazz and Kwaito. Artists like Black Coffee have become international names. New producers like DJ Lag are ready to follow. House rules South Africa. Now it's time for the world to listen.